Let it rip.
So Pono, man, you and I, we met each other earlier last year, bro, at the Fit Expo. And, it's crazy. I see one of the biggest dudes walking around the room. You're wearing the slap shirt, and we just started talking. We started ripping. And I've been following your journey ever since, man. So I'm excited about this because there's no filters on this podcast. We love to just talk to really good people that are doing really cool things. And obviously you're doing one of the coolest things I've seen. So little brief background with the crowd, dude. Like, what got you into slap? Where did you come from? Who is Pono himself? And give us a little background, bro.
So I thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah.
So it's Pono, aka the Hawaiian Assassin, ranked number 5 in the heavyweight division right now. Currently trying to go for the title, but yeah, I mean, born and raised originally from Hawaii, lived on the island of Oahu, lived my whole life there. Moved here to San Diego when I was around 25, and just been here ever since. Never left.
Amazing.
Yeah, and how I got into Power Slap was I have a friend that his uncle was on the very first season, Road to the Title. They did a TV series where they had a bunch of guys just like the Ultimate Fighter show, a bunch of people living in a house and then kind of battling each other through the living there. And I met him and his uncle kind of opened up the doors. He was on the very first season, season 1, Road to the Title,
Yep.
and shortly after he competed on the very first Power Slap live event.
Okay.
And my friend hits me up and he's like, "Hey, can you do me a big favor? I'm gonna be out there. My uncle, just got the call for his next live event. I'm gonna be in the background holding up the Mexican flag." He's like, "You mind snapping a picture of me, my uncle, and the flag all in one?" I said, "Yeah, of course."
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I take that picture and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, man, this guy is on a platform. This is something different. And being from Hawaii, it's kind of like our go-to is the UFC, right? MMA and mixed martial arts in general. So if you ever wanted to be in the sport or be closer to the sport, I mean that's how you would do it, right? Just trying to get into the doors that are closer, right next to it. So he was already in there. I put in my application. Unfortunately, they didn't call me back as soon as possible. They kind of went through the looking at the profile, seeing who I was as a person, character, whatever it may be. And I think at that moment, they weren't really trying to highlight the heavyweight division. They have the light heavyweight, they have all these other different divisions. So just kind of had to wait it out. And my brother is a professional MMA fighter. He's fought for Bellator, LFA, Cage Warriors, just really well decorated. And he was the guy that kind of brought everything together. As soon as he wanted to make a transition from Hawaii to Arizona, and then Arizona to San Diego, being this is like the MMA mecca where you have big names like Dominic Cruz, Seth Brzezinski, Jeremy Stevens, Miles Jury, all these guys here, Phil Davis. So he wanted to make that transition here. Took a couple of fights. He did bare knuckle. He's done, just a bunch of them. Up Next fighting for Commerce Casino, and unfortunately his last match that he had in the MMA world was against a jiu-jitsu practitioner, and the guy kind of choked him out in the first 20 something seconds. And me and him had that real like deep talk of how we should try to make this thing go one dimensional, stay either to boxing, don't have to really dabble in the MMA world and take all these elbows and knees and just do boxing, or just do something that's just solely focused on one thing, one discipline. So
That no, sorry. Like, so that actually brings up an interesting question. Like, so what's the general pedigree to get into a sport like this? Like, do most people come in through boxing, through MMA, and already have some credentials in whether it's a different fighting style, or is it just something that kind of comes to be something you're passionate about? You want to really just show your strength, show your might in competition, or like, what did you do prior to get into it?
So I've just been in like the MMA world. I have never did any kind of professional fighting. I wanted to do amateurs way back in the day. I just never was really disciplined for it, right? To learn all the crafts all in one. And I just fell in love with it. I just kind of like that, it's a good solid way to kind of figure out where you fit in life. You know,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, with jujitsu, with kickboxing, I mean, you have multiple disciplines. You have to learn something, right? And self defense, and I just fell in love with it, and then just became really close to a lot of people that were, more dedicated and really like delved deep into the sport. And I think it's like a Hawaiian boy's dream to always be in the UFC.
Yeah.
So my brother, he was like that real gung ho guy that just kind of went out there and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm taking life by the horns and just kind of go for it," And he got into his amateurs, did his amateurs, got into his first pro fight, and then kind of jumped in. But with the sport now, at this time, it's evolved. So you have a lot of people that were just kind of like backyard style. Hey, we're in a bar. Let's get up on the stage. I'm gonna slap you in the face. You're gonna slap me in the face, and
Yeah.
that's just how it goes,
Yeah.
And
Rough.
it slowly progressed from that real backyard style of fighting,
Yeah.
and then transitioning, they brought more people that were in the athletic realm. So now you have people that are just part of like some kind of MMA, jujitsu. It's slowly shifted into now we have a lot of NXT wrestlers.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
people that are from the entertainment side of it, right? People
Mhm.
that have already kind of been on the stage, have a background in that, and now trying to make their name in a sport. And it's fairly new. It's only been around since 2021, I would say. So
Yep.
it's still in the growing stages. So as we progress and as we move along, we're introducing different people from different parts of the world and different backgrounds to just try to come into the sport and see who's the best at slapping each other in the face.
All right, what's going on, guys? I wanted to cut in on this video really quick to extend the offer for you to come in and work with the Force of Focus in a much more community-based level. Now, all of the information that I provide here is extremely valuable and important for you to know about the industry that you're in, but being able to work in a room full of artists who are all not only applying the systems, but keeping each other accountable changes the entire trajectory of your success and of your scalability. So if this is something you're interested in, we're going to attach the link down below in the description. Let us know if you have any questions. Obviously, like, comment, subscribe, but make sure that you are willing to roll the dice. You have to be able to get up and get out. You have to be able to play the game, not just ride the bench. And this is exactly where you can do that. It's not your run-of-the-mill program. This is community approach. This is how we work together and we navigate the sea of uncertainty in this creative career path. I cannot wait to see you in there with us.
I gotta say, man, I've been a huge UFC fan. It's probably the only sport I watch, and I've been a follower a very long time, dude. I would have to say two of the legends from Hawaii are obviously BJ Penn and Max Holloway.
That's it.
I would say, I mean, would you agree with the Hawaiian fighting, like those two dudes? I mean, there's a few more. I drew a blank to one of the guys' names. But would you say like they were probably the pioneers that kind of like lifted this sport and the islands as to like what is reality, and this could really be a dream for people come true?
Yeah, for mixed martial arts, yeah, for sure. BJ Penn, Yancy Medeiros.
That's
Yancy
Madero.
Medeiros is out there, yep, and Max Holloway. So yeah, they're the pioneers of the MMA world for all the Hawaiians, yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Power slap, you have guys that have competed internationally, have gone against people from Poland, from Russia, from Germany. Good friend of mine, the Crazy Hawaiian.
Yeah.
He is probably one of like the original OGs of the sport that kind of came into the game, and he was doing it before anybody else was doing it. He was in the backwoods in a bar slapping people from before, and then kind of just made his way into that world where, okay, well, now this is a thing. People want to see people get slapped. It's the virality of it,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
You're on the stage for a minute, 2 minutes. Somebody's either going to get knocked out, somebody's going to get put down, or you guys are going to go for a long period of time. So,
Yeah.
yeah, he is probably the OG of the sport. Started everything, and then you have other guys like the Dumpling, and I never really knew Dumpling at that moment in time, but he's a Russian coming from across the seas, and he's been doing it over there. They have this sport over there, and trying to just bring the U.S. into it now.
Is it? Would you consider very similar to UFC? Like we're big branding and marketing guys. I mean, online you gotta do everything marketing. You gotta be present. You gotta do the content. Does that go a long way with slap? Especially like you said, you've got that 1 minute on stage. I mean, outside of the ring, you have to promote yourself at a certain extent and really go above and beyond. For not only I've noticed you've got some really good sponsors, but I mean, is that something you've got to do daily? Just grind and content and really keep up with the times.
Yep, just like any other business, and you are the brand.
Yep.
So, I'm going out there. I have to put myself out there every single time. I have to be able to go back and tell my story every single time.
Yeah.
Get a good solid timeline to me, and then also have that entertainment factor.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what they're really looking for. You give a short period of time on the stage, and those slaps will go viral, but a lot of the times people skip over if you don't have a solid story to yourself of, telling where you came from, what you're doing, where you are now, where you were before,
Yep.
where you are currently, and where you're going. If you
Yep.
don't have that setup going for you, then you have people that don't really get highlighted in the sport. They'll slowly die, or their social media presence won't be there, not having the ability to be able to go and speak to other people, spread the message, spread the word, whatever you have going for you.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that opportunities, it slowly kind of dies for you on the stage.
Yeah, and
That
I think that's really what attracted the question to me to get you on the podcast was, the content I've seen before, but it was just recently. I don't know who it was, who the lady was filming you, but you're in the garage on a Sunday or something, doing the shit that nobody else wants to see. Nothing cosmetically pleasing about cleaning out your old garage and organizing, but that's the shit. Like that's where I'm like, this dude's the real deal. He gets it. Like he's showing the behind the scenes stuff that isn't the flawless, camera angles and all that.
So that video is actually, she captured me while I was helping out. So there's a church that's literally right down the street from my house that just within this last year, I would say year and a half,
Yeah.
me and my wife has joined the church and kind of just been going down there helping out, and just giving back to the community. They're really big on like helping the homeless and just kind of being there present in the community. And I found a home there. People that really look at me and be like, they don't judge me for what I look like, right? I look like a criminal. I got all the tattoos, I got
Yeah.
everything going on. I'm a big scary dude. And
Yeah.
originally when I first got there, they were like, this guy does power slap.
Oh shit.
Oh no, let's not talk to him,
Yeah. Yeah.
and but then once they get to know you, and they find out that you're just a real good-hearted person, and you speak from your heart, and you try to just promote the being the best version of yourself, then they go, oh wow. And you know I come from a background where there were struggles. There wasn't everything wasn't easily given. I've had a good life, and a good childhood, but I mean, there's been struggles along the way, and to be that person to be able to have that outlet and speak to them about those things. So, we had a church cleanup, spring cleaning,
Yeah.
and so I've got, I don't know if I got the OCD in me, but I'm just kind of, let me go organize stuff, let me go
Yep.
fix things, let me go
Yep.
stack things up, and here she comes around around the corner and like, hey, so what does the Hawaiian Assassin do on his time off?
Yeah.
And
Dude, it
I'm
was
like,
great.
it's like right here helping the
Yeah.
church and trying to figure out exactly where my life should be.
I love
Well, I
that.
think you had beautifully said it with, I mean, that's just kind of a little bit of the backstory, but that's what really creates the personal brand. Everybody neglects the personal approach, but like you had said, like who you truly are, where you're at, and where you're going. Do you feel like you had said, a lot of NXT athletes had come in to Power Slap? Do you think that raised the bar and expectations of the showmanship to how
Yes.
you show up both online and in person? Do you think it kind of like just raise the bar for how everybody like positions themselves as professional athletes in a sense?
Yes, that was the reason why they brought in NXT
Yeah.
wrestlers, was because that the sport was lacking the people that were really going out there. People were walking out there and kind of just doing your thing. You go up there, you go on stage, you deliver the slap, you take a slap, you deliver the slap, you knock the guy out, and then as soon as the guy's out, you celebrate for a little second. They give you the microphone. You don't know what to say except thank God, thank this, thank that, and then it just kind of just goes over, and
Mhm.
and that's your 50 seconds of fame, 1 minute of fame that you get before anything goes out. So it's like that part right there was, hey, how do we make this entertaining, from the walkout to the storyline build
Mhm.
up to the being on stage to the guy that can speak and talk after, right? he's
Yeah.
he's on the microphone, he makes his call out, there's a call to action. It's a business.
Yep.
It's a call to
Absolutely.
action. Hey, this is who I am. This is why I'm here. Man, follow me and follow me on my journey. You know what I mean? And let's make this happen. And that was and I think naturally I've just been that person, and it just never was ever highlighted in my life. I just kind of daily just went about my life and been a character and been a friend to this person, been all over the world, just
Yeah.
doing my own thing, and not realizing that I was I was branding myself already. I was already
Yeah.
doing all these things where I was putting a name to whatever I was doing,
Yeah.
and just
Well,
and putting myself out there, and that's where it opened my eyes. And in this sport, because it's so fairly new, if your eyes open earlier than a lot of other people, well, you look like the guy that's the creator.
yeah.
You know, it's like, wow, this guy is he's really going out there. He's, you know, talking to sponsors. He's getting his name out there. He's trying to put something together, whether it's, you know, and that's all it's been. When just from starting off in Power Slap, all I wanted to do was just to like leave a legacy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
leave a legacy in something that is so fairly new, and people are just now catching eyes to, and you know, create some viral moments in life before I leave this world.
I like the fact that you keep saying the business aspect of it because I think that's something a lot of people neglect. Whether it's I work with tattoo artists, Jake's been an amazing musician, you're a professional athlete, but I think when you look at the business of all those things, there's people who struggle with understanding the difference between personality and persona.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And so, do you think that there's a lot of that? Like some people who like wear the character when they get up on stage, as opposed to who it is they are in their personal lives? Or do you find it more beneficial to just live it, love it, and let it out, whether you're on stage, in person, on or off camera?
I feel like authenticity is the strongest thing you could ever have.
Yeah.
And if you're out there, and people in this world, they are not, they're not blind to how people can change the way that they act, the way that they are, to fit that
Yeah.
moment.
The
So
gimmick.
you know, it's very easily seen. They're just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, well, this guy must be putting on a show here. You know, he
Well, dude,
must be. We don't know the true story behind a lot of the things,
Yeah.
especially if there's no explanation building up to those moments where you're speaking like that or doing those things.
well, dude,
So yeah.
I'm gonna say just like the first time we met, you were just full. I mean, people were coming up to you left and right. I'm like, and I watched Slap here and there. I'm not, mostly the viral moments, mostly the highlight stuff. But it's like I saw you doing. You just had this big smile. You're shaking everybody's hand. You and I started a conversation, and there was no hesitation. And I'm like, again, somebody looking like you, people I've met in industries. Most of the times it would be shrugged off. They'd just kind of be that asshole. You know what I mean? But you were just so
Mhm.
full of life, and you could tell it wasn't you just trying to be an authentic, carrying your brand, like shooting the smiles for the camera. It's like this dude was a genuine, authentic, like bro that I could see him and I watching UFC fights together one night. You know what I mean? It was like
Thank
one
you,
of those
brother. I
moments.
appreciate that.
Yeah, dude. So, and like you said, we can tell in this industry, especially like as we were talking before the cameras rolled. It was like there's just a lot of mentors and gurus out there, and people just feeding false shit that we don't need to get into right now. But when you meet a real one, that's why me and Mike are so about connection and in person. And you being at the Fit Expo, like that's what it takes. Going and shaking those hands, meeting people, getting in the bigger rooms, conversating, taking the pictures, living the moment. And that's really what we strive for with what we do here at Let Her Rip and with the flagship, dude. So yeah, I just want to spit that out, man, because our first interaction, I was like, this dude gets it. This dude gets it right here, man. So
Yeah, I mean, and we realize once we, and especially like being in a sport where there's cameras, there's you're in the eye,
yep.
is that you only got one way to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Like it, sooner or later, everything kind of shines through, right? And the one thing that people really lack is consistency, right? If once you deliver that motion, you deliver that message, you put that out there. Well, guess what? Tomorrow you have to live that,
Yeah.
and the next day, and the next, and
Mm-hmm.
the next, and sooner or later, you know, life catches up, and if you're not living it in your authentic way, it's gonna play back in.
Yeah.
Then you're playing catch up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's not how you want to do
Well,
it, you know,
we've
especially
yeah.
in this.
And we've all seen it. Like when people are taking pictures at certain events and they do the smile and then the minute later, like they're done with the smile. And you can just see that look of just like, get me the fuck out of here. You can
Hmm.
just tell they're not in that moment. They're not there just like holding on to that because like you said, tomorrow's not guaranteed. Once this is all over, once your time in the light, like I've been in the light and I know what it feels like to be out of that moment. And you
Hmm.
got to live. I wish I could go back to those years I was playing and really live those moments to the fullest and treat each day like it was just the end of the world, and you can see that with a lot of people, man. But yeah, like I said, when you're out there, doing your thing, it was just the smile just stayed. It wasn't like smile for the camera and then it's like, fuck, all right, another one. Smile for the camera. It was just rolling, bro. So good shit. Good
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, and I like interacting with everybody. You know, I like hearing other people's stories. I like seeing what's going on. You know, and I'm walking around just as a like if people were looking at me like, I'm your fan, I'm your
Yeah.
biggest fan. I'm looking at you guys like, okay, well, I'm your fan too. You
Yeah.
got guys out there that's doing arm wrestling that you barely even know about, right? But I mean, that's a feat of strength.
Yeah.
To see you do something like that, that's amazing. So, never disregard anybody else's, talents or whatever their
Expertise.
gifts. You got to go out there and treat everybody just like how you would like to be treated.
That's
I
it.
think a huge component to that is you have to be a fan of your audience. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So many people struggle with that in business where they believe that attention is the greatest form of currency. But it's really, I mean, and I've been using this term more frequently, but it's almost it's mental masturbation in a sense, because you're just gathering all of this shit, assuming that all of this attention is going to get you to where you want to go. But if you're not giving back to it and you're not present in those moments, then inevitably it still falls flat. And that goes back to the business end of these things. Jake explaining you in a social setting makes it really clear that you are who you show up as. My
Mhm.
my question is, what is the discipline that keeps you dialed in, locked in, and active, staying excited to all things? Because a lot of people can show that they're disciplined, they're tough, and you don't know what the backstory is. You don't know like the way they interact with other people. What does your actual like training process look like? Not just in your strength and your ability to do your sport, but your training process of you just really being that humble, happy, but also like healthy and focused individual.
For sure. Yeah, I'm overall I'm trying to connect all three things. I'm trying to connect the mind, the body, and the spirit. And overall, that's how everybody should be, right?
Yeah.
Trying to make that synchronization of the mind, the body, and the spirit, however that may look. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that like I am the most disciplined, most accurate, on point with everything that I do person. That would be just me lying, right? It's
Yeah.
not. It's not true. I will fall off here and there, and I will, figure my way back to the to the path to where I need to kind of continue on with everything. But the back part of that is that originally getting onto Power Slap, I had this feeling and this motion of, man, you know what? I'm just gonna go out there and I'm gonna become a champion, and people are gonna look at me like this, and I'm just the guy that's gonna hold the title. I'm gonna wreck people. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna wreck people, and it's like I know I'm good at this.
Yeah.
Hawaiians are kind of like physically built for this, right? Whether it be lifting rocks or doing crazy stuff, right? Crazy feats of strength back home. Like this is who I am. I'm
Mhm.
a warrior by heart, so I'm gonna go out there and take it.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't really humbled until I got on a season and I got to live with those other 40 guys in the house, and realizing that they were going through the same struggles and the same ups and the same downs as me. And, and really just trying to find their way in life. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was trying to do. So my original push was because back in the day, I wasn't a good person, and I have a daughter that's 17,
Wow.
and my relationship with my ex created that distance between me and my daughter, and
Mhm.
I haven't seen her since she was 3 years old. So when getting onto Power Slap, that was the reason,
Yeah.
was because I needed a platform to be able to reach out to my daughter somehow, some way, and find her all the way across the world, wherever she may be, and really try to interact with that. I
Yeah.
haven't had her in my life since she was 3 years old. So no contact, no phone calls, none of that stuff. And I in my heart, I knew that being on this platform, it was going to open that door.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it did. It
Hell
did.
yeah, man.
I got off the season. I was able, and I thought that my performance on the season wasn't going to be, appealing to the power slap brass or to the people, right, that were kind of the higher ups.
Mhm.
And I was wrong. It's completely wrong about that. They made me number 8 in the world as soon as I got off the show.
Fucking
And I think it was because of the way that I held my composure and represented myself on the season
yeah.
that really was the staple for everything.
Yeah.
They saw that I was in a house trying to help people, and not the guy that was just trying to wreck.
Yeah.
I don't care about you. I don't care about you. I'm just gonna go out there and this is done. You're in the heavyweight division. You're out, bro. Don't even think you got a chance against me. I'm gonna smash you. And I was supposed to be that scary dude. But then when I start talking to people and I realize, wow, this guy's going through a hard time in life. Not this is outside of power slap, and you being here and you trying to make an example of yourself. this guy's going through, child support issues or this or that, just criminal justice system. You've been in the system.
Yeah.
You've been in the system. You understand the struggle.
All
So I'm
concrete.
like, man, I come from that world, brother, and I just got out. I just got out of that system. So
Yeah.
it's like, if I can provide you with any information that's going to help you grow and become the best version of yourself, I mean, in return, as I'm sharing this information with them, I'm helping myself.
Sure.
It becomes that part where I'm putting myself through self therapy, seeing that that what I'm saying, I have to go out there and I have to do exactly what I'm preaching. Okay, you got to practice what you preach. So
Yeah.
then that was the change, and I slowly started to figure out that that's how this is going to be done right here. It's like, you're not gonna go out there and win the title by beating the champion. You're gonna win the title by becoming the best version of yourself and helping people grow, and really trying to get your message out there that, hey man, I'm just a normal regular person just trying to make it in life, just like you guys.
Yeah.
Fucking slap hard as fuck.
That's it. The
So,
slapping is the bonus.
so
The slapping is the
yeah,
bonus. I get to let out a little bit of the anger and the aggression, but
it's got
I
to be fun.
remember, dude.
So,
I remember growing up, and slapping somebody was the greatest form of disrespect one could ever deliver onto another
it's
man.
it
You know,
still is.
it still
yeah,
is.
and I've been through the system in like from teens, 20s, mid 30s. And then like the minute I come out, like you said, about 21, 22, 23, you start seeing it all over the internet. It was like, motherfucker. Like
Yeah.
to
I would
openly sign up for that would just,
I would have to give props to Nate Diaz, dude. I mean, because every time he slaps a motherfucker in the ring, you're just like, dude just bitch slapped him. And it's the biggest form of disrespect. You know what I mean? Like Nate Diaz is the
Yeah,
king with the fucking Compton. What is the Stockton slap?
the Stockton slap. Yep.
All right, so we talked about mindset training, but I want to hear, dude, like how do you physically train? Is that powerlifting? Is that strongman? Like obviously it'd be a lot of grip strength, a lot of forearm, a lot of just power. Like what does your daily routine look like to go in to the gym?
So I've taken a few different approaches to everything. I have friends that do arm wrestling.
Okay.
So their training of forearm and grip and just kind of just that basic, like, hey, if you want to deliver a powerful slap, we need strong wrists, we need giant forearms, right? I mean, good solid shoulders. So I've taken a little bit of a page from all my people, okay, arm wrestling people, okay, this is their type of training that they do for their forearms, their wrists, and their grip strength. Got it. Check, mark that off. And then it's a rotational sport.
Yep.
So now you study, baseball, golfing. You
Mm,
do all those things. You just take a little bit of what they have to offer for each one. And I mean, it's pretty much proven that if you have a really solid core in
yeah.
this, solid strength, a good solid built to your core, good solid lats, you're going to be able to deliver
Yeah.
that power all the way through the target.
I think
So
that goes. I think that goes with all any sport. Would be a foundational core, and then so many people forget their lats and their pulling. Everybody
yeah,
wants chest day. Everybody forgets about the pull. You know.
it's universal. It's
Yeah.
universal. So I mean, there are some other things that I've like. So I'm a big. I like to study video, right?
Mhm.
So whether it be the slapping, whether it be other people that have like previously trained. So Marv Marinovich,
Hmm.
that guy. I mean, he's done so much good things where it's. I mean, he trained Troy Polamalu and teaching him how to light up his fascia training,
Wow.
how to be elastic, and just and mobility,
Yeah.
having those type of things. So those things, were huge.
Yeah.
Like once I saw that kind of training, I'm like, okay, well, I gotta dabble in all these different things to try to create the ultimate thing. So it's general fitness overall, right?
Mhm.
You have your three days out of the week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You know, back back and buys. Yep, chest and
Yeah.
tries. One day that's dedicated all
A
to
traditional
legs.
bro split or like push pull legs style.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You don't have to go crazy with it. You can just do your regular push pull, and
So,
then the one that really, you know, takes it over the edge is that rotational training.
So
So I
almost
use
almost similar to MMA training, where you want to spend your strength and conditioning, then you've got your jitsu, then you've got your wrestling, and you have to specialize in each little category. But you got your three main focuses: your money
Mhm.
with the fight for strength. Then your in between is your accessory work or your hit work or whatever that may be.
Yep. And then I implement cardio into all my days, whether I have 25 to 30 minutes on an incline treadmill. You don't have to kill yourself. This is not an endurance sport. You know, it's literally you're standing on the stage, you're delivering a slap, you're taking a slap. You don't have to run around on the stage.
Especially
You
as
don't
a
have to
heavy,
defend
especially as
yourself.
a heavyweight, you got to keep the weight on. So you've got to pick and choose your cardio. Do you see a space in here? Like, would you ever see yourself coaching or doing some kind of like educational style coaching for slap or in general? Like, have you thought about that, or do you do it?
Yes. So
Okay.
I've learned from a few people like David Weck, you know, the inventor of the Bosu ball and how he created
Okay.
the Weck method.
Yep.
And just his things that he has done, like, you know, creating the Bosu ball. He has an RMT club, those type of things. You know, he's a innovator, he's an inventor.
Yeah.
So I created what I call the slap method.
Okay.
So it's where you focus on strength, the lean, your accuracy, and your power,
Okay.
right? And that's basically all. Like, when me and so my brother's also in power
I,
slap.
I just recently saw that. Yeah.
He competed on Power Slap 7. And when we originally started, we created a style called the lean on one, which is weight transfer.
Yeah.
You're, you know, putting your weight past the target on one side, transferring everything all the way over, being able to catch on and, you know, preload, load on one side, and then
That's
continue with the
I've
whole
been
entire
seeing that.
target.
I think I've been seeing that recently in your content. It's like where you just give that one slap and you set up the bag kind of like anywhere or like in the moment wherever you are, like a telephone pole. There was, I think the telephone pole is the one I saw, but it's the
Yeah.
same thing. You're doing the one, two, and then you follow through. So that's a
hmm
lot of the content I've been seeing. So that's incredible, dude.
Yeah. So I mean but it's a lot of people are practicing it right now. I mean, obviously, right? People have
Yep.
eyes, so they watch and they see and they try to mimic the movements. But if you don't have a good understanding, just like all the other little like things that I've taken from, you know, when you're doing something like this, if you're not doing all these little pieces,
Yeah.
the the mechanics of what you're trying to do for like the actual movement is not going to make sense,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't understand it. They just see it first and they're like, "Oh, okay, well, I mean, it can't be that hard. He's leaning over like this, and then he's transferring weight back over this way, and then he's doing the slap." And it's like it's so simple to them when they're looking at it. But if you understood all the biomechanics, all the body mechanics that goes into building that up, like, I don't think about a slap being delivered all in just that one throw.
Yeah.
I break it down into three parts: the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Mhm.
And when people see that, then you're like, okay, well, I also practice on various targets.
Yeah.
I practice on a 20-pound, 30-pound teardrop bag. I practice on an uppercut bag that's
Mm.
stationary, bolted to the wall, that it can't move. It has some kind of wiggle room, but it can't. It's not going to shift and it's not going to fall over.
Yeah.
I practice on a speed bag, which is not meant for the actual power delivery when you hit the target, but it's meant for the follow through. So when
Incredible.
you actually end,
Yeah.
right, and being able to extend that all the way through, that's
Wow.
where you're gonna put the power through the person's
The
face.
way you're speaking is just as passionate as the golfer would with his swing. And to anyone that plays golf, it's not fucking easy to swing a golf club properly because
Right.
all the biomechanics and everything. So, I mean, what you're saying, it's something I knew there's a lot that goes into it, but fuck, man, when you really sit back and think about it, the question is, how do you practice for taking, for the defense?
Okay, so there's no real actual
There's
way that
no,
you can practice for defense. There's, I mean, so I'm gonna explain it to you now. So when you go up there, you have other equipment besides yourself, right? So they give you a baton that you have to hold behind your back.
okay.
Regular people, when they go up there, they think that it's because you know, they tell you it's meant to keep your shoulders down, because you're giving the opponent a clear area, clear target for that hand to enter and hit the face. This is your target area, so they want you to be able to leave that open so that way people can hit that. That is what the baton's for. But if you think about it, The baton is actually really meant for you to grasp and turn. Turning the baton or twisting the baton, what it does is it locks your arms to your body. So instead of your arms flailing out like this and being in a almost you think that you're in a good steady, stable stance here like this, but you become a unit, one unit when you turn it and it's tightened to the body and there's no space in between here. So now I make this whole entire part of my upper body one solid unit. I'm holding tight. On the bottom, you have the podium that you stand in front of. It's probably about 12 inches or so between you and the other opponent. But the podium is a big part of it too. Because when you go up there and you place your feet, kind of look exactly where you are in the box, you can use the podium to your advantage. And people don't think about that. They, 3 points of contact, your feet and the podium. You create a tripod. So now you're leaning into the podium and you have that as a brace. When people hit you and you're too far away from the podium like this, what it would do is it'll cause your body, because your distance away from the podium is like that, and immediately the first thing that happens when somebody hits you here is that usually shuts out the call system to the feet. So your feet kind of give out first. It kind of gets light. It gets really light. It opens up like this, and then you start to shift your body weight intends for you to fall back.
Yeah.
So your body starts to curl like this and drop. But if you have your body posted up, this is the podium, and you have your body posted up against the podium, that's already stable in itself from the lower end. So we work, it's the kinetic chain. We work from our feet up. And now I'm steady up against the podium. Now I take the baton, I twist it, and I lock it down to my body. So now I've locked on the bottom, I've locked on the mid. The only thing last is my chin. So now I'm raising my chin up, and I do this in a very slow motion because now you're playing. It's the part where you think that you're only against your opponent that's standing across you that's hitting you. No, it's also with the refs too. So they can put you in a point where, I mean, you're gonna get hit, and you probably won't have a good solid reaction time to be able to brace up on that.
Yeah.
They'll lift your chin. Hey man, lift your chin up. And they'll push your chin up like this. And okay, now I'm over here, and if I'm already extended, and a lot of people they engage with their traps.
Yeah.
Which is it's very strong for your neck to be that way, but it's the worst position you can be in, because as soon as I engage my traps this way, what it does is it automatically pulls my chin up and it sends my chin up here, and the chin is the button. So if I'm just giving you my chin like that, by the time the target hits, he has the opportunity to be able to twist the neck, push the chin, and once that makes it where the chin touches the trap, is usually when the lights shut out.
Fuck,
Immediately.
man.
So I wait and I let him, I battle the referee. He gets me up to a certain point, and I hold tight, I hold steady, I look straight, but I'm staring kind of just in his facial expression where his nose, his mouth is. And as he measures, I make sure that my eyes slowly drop and I teeter back down to there's a camera that's on the podium. And I just like to use guidelines and marks to be able to know exactly where my position
I was just
is.
going to ask, does that concentration help with maybe the knockout? If you are concentrating on something other than letting your mind kind of wander, you got to stay drilled into one specific moment.
Yeah. So I mean, and if you don't practice certain things like the flinching, right? Flinching is a thing. Like people moving their hand fast in your face like that. Yeah, you're gonna have a natural reaction to it. Oh my gosh, you blink, you move your head away, and I just stop focusing on what's going on around me, and I focus on one thing that's right in front of me. And I slowly drop my eyes down to the camera, and I keep my eyes there. And I mean, the slap is gonna happen. You can't go nowhere.
Yeah.
So what are you anticipating? You're anticipating that thing. What am I gonna do with my eyes? I'm not gonna track his hand. Like, why am I gonna track his hand for? His hand's coming. I just got to make sure that I'm solid, steady, and I'm braced down forward. If I look at your hand, what that does is it causes me to look at the target, whatever's coming my way. Boom! I start moving my head. I start making a flinch. No, I just keep my head straight down, make sure I stay steady, and that's really like the majority of the things that you can do to, practice your bracing, practice your technique. You technically don't want somebody to be slapping you in the face as your practice.
Well, that's the thing.
Because there's
you
no
got a weak
conditioning
chin, you got
in
a weak
that.
chin. There's no way to get a stronger chin. You can do every neck fucking exercise in the world, but if you can't take a punch, it's not the sport for you.
I think a lot of what you said is a very specific metaphor for life, though. You know what I mean? Like, you already know the hit's coming. You stay fucking focused. You know what you got to do. You have your rhythm. I think that's where a lot of people focus. Where everybody kind of drops the ball, whether that's in sports and creativity and business and life and legacy, is they're so fixated on what's coming in from the sides that they lose their focus on where their eyes need to be at all times to be able to maintain like trudging what's inevitably going to occur anyway.
Right. Correct. You put on the horse blinders.
Yeah.
You know, once it comes to that time, you got to put on the horse blinders. You got to be tunnel vision, fully focused on this is exactly what I'm going to do. Because what happens is, you know, our strongest muscle is the mind.
Mm-hmm.
That thing starts to work, and oh my gosh, thinking about what's going to happen, thinking about, oh, this guy's swinging from here, swinging from there. You're doing too much.
Yep.
You're doing way too much. You're going to get hit regardless.
Yeah.
So just stand there, stay focused in what you already understand. And if you're not going through, what I tell everybody is, you have to go through a checklist. If you're not constantly keeping yourself accountable to the checklist, then you're not properly prepared for the slap.
Yep.
And that's it. Proper preparation equals, you know, it avoids that poor performance.
Yep. This is kind of a weird way to propose the question, but going back to the business end of things, do you think the business is more focused on slapping and taking the slap, or more revolving around what it is you do to prepare and who it is you truly are everywhere else? And this is just kind of I guess in a sense, this is the package, this is the product, and the business is everything else that you specifically do and what it is that the sport and you in it represent.
I think within this sport, you have to be the full package to do everything, right?
Yeah.
And the way that it's going right now, the trajectory of how it is, it's all about these viral moments that they're trying to capture.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you can sharpen up in any one of those categories, where it's the entertainment aspect, where you know how to go out there and you know how to perform, whether it's out there and actually like it takes you to dabble in every single part of it.
Yeah.
Right, the physical aspect, because before people weren't really preparing to do anything. And, you know, talk about the off the couch type of person.
Yeah.
Right. Oh man, I could do this sport. This is easy. Go out there, take a slap right off the couch, potato chips in hand, you know, and just I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Right, call me today. You know,
Yeah.
but as we've progressed, you know, you've introduced athleticism.
Yeah.
You've have people that actually really train and really practice, and I think that at this point, some of that is kind of frowned upon from more the professional side of it, like people that train all their life doing jujitsu, 14, 15 years dedicated to the craft, you know, trying to get a blue belt, a purple belt, a black belt, and really build it up. And then they look at this and they're like, oh, well, you know, it's just a slap. They don't take it as serious. So I can only imagine that a lot of the people, if you don't already understand that it doesn't matter what it is, you're putting your life at risk when you go out there and you're taking a hit in the face. And it's not, and just because you do more, there's more talent being done in your disciplines than just taking a slap or delivering a slap. It turns sour for people.
Yeah.
They're like, this guy doesn't really know what he's doing.
Here's the reason I ask, and you hit the nail on the fucking head and what I hoped you would say. So the reason I ask is, when I take what you do out of the equation, like say we're working with a tattoo artist, their belief is the business is in what you do in the tattoo, but they neglect everything else. Like you said, the guy with the potato chips, like, oh, I could do that, you know, but then they neglect all the important elements that make you more refined in this. The reward in tattooing, as I'm sure in your sport, is being able to stand on stage, being able to do the thing, to master the craft, to be the showman. But what gets you to that stage, what gets you through those levels and to be able to do it at peak performance is all the other shit.
It's the preparation.
You know, and I I love the way that you had explained it, because one thing that we try to push is, despite what you do, it's not about what you do, it's who you are while you do it that helps you be able to scale. And a lot of people neglect all of those nuances that make you be able to show up at peak performance for the thing that you love, or that you claim to love. The love comes from what you're willing to do with your alternative worldly view or your nuance. Going back to you saying you train through like baseball and golf as much as the power end of things because it's a rotational sport. Nobody would think about that shit. You know what I mean? Nobody who's just a spectator is going to understand how those motor skills and how that mobility really apply to what you do until they have the conversation, just like in tattooing or in music or in anything really. It comes from understanding and taking different elements from other things outside of to make you master something, to do it a little different, to give you that upper hand or that edge.
Yeah. I mean, people would think that I'm like a weirdo if they were like, hey man, show me your real workout routine and what you do and how you do all this stuff, and then I start doing it where it's like where I explain to them that a yoga ball is probably your best friend, and they're like, what? Hey, this guy's crazy, man. This guy, he's like, he ain't lifting weights, he ain't doing all this other like hitting like he's talking about a yoga ball and how that's gonna benefit me. Yeah, it's gonna benefit you, brother, because your body mechanics.
Yep.
You understand how your body operates, how your body moves.
Yeah.
Where's your pinpoint positions where it's gonna work against you.
Mm-hmm.
You can sit there and you can practice and try to build up on all your strengths that you have, but if you don't operate and work on your weaknesses, you're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
You're never going to get anywhere, and everybody has them, whether it's a hurt shoulder, a bad hip, bad knees. So I mean, the overall is like your overall workout and exercise is for daily living.
Mm-hmm.
Like just making sure that the body is running properly, and it's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And then once that happens, then everything kind of just falls into play.
Yeah.
Once you put another, then you start thinking about the smaller nuances and like, okay, how do I increase my hitting strength from certain points, and I mean, I can go into it because I'm low key obsessed.
Yeah.
And I think that's another big thing, especially even with business. You got to have some kind of like passion and obsession with what you do, and that's where you're gonna fall in love with it, and it's not gonna become part of your job, and it's not something you show up to just, oh my gosh, I got to get through the day. It's like I enjoy it, and then I enjoy, like we talked, what you said earlier, Jake, is I like teaching other people.
Yeah.
Like I've gained a real love and passion to see other people's growth and see how they understand what's going on. And man, even to the simplest like mechanic of, okay, I need you to do weight transfer.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, how do you do that? And then when I start showing them that it's that eternal flow, that yin and yang, that back and forth, the pronation, supination, like they look and they're like,
Well,
what the hell is this guy doing, bro? Is he a Tai Chi master or he's a power slap guy?
Yeah, and you nailed it, man. Coaching, at least for me, the last 15 years of being a personal trainer and then owning the gym, it's like it's developed who I am today. By coaching others, it brings out the best version of ourselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make you that much better, because not only that, you're on that pedestal. You have to be on point. It's the whole reason we tell people on and off camera, like, we could go on and on for this, but you have to show up for that individual. And by showing up for that individual makes you the better person. And that's going to lead to my next question is being able to be on this platform and this stage, and Dana White's, his series and the cameras on you. You talked a lot about giving back to the community and the church. What other platforms or whatever, I don't want to use the word goals, but what have you been able to accomplish like within your personal brand that you never thought possible without being on this kind of stage? Like, is there something else bigger that you've shot for that's like, man, this is really giving me this platform? You said coaching, we've got the church. What else as far as like your business? Like, what does that open the doors to for you?
So me and my wife, and my wife is a veteran in the MMA world. She's been on quite some time with. She was a producer for the Ultimate Fighter show, and I think that is a big part to it. Is that we come from the same somewhat similar world and have that same experiences. So I'm like, okay, well, let's see what we can do. And we opened up a management company called Heavy Hitters Management, and that we right now operate solely on power slap strikers.
Okay.
And using the program like the slap method, all the workouts, all the routines and everything else to help train and properly prepare these guys ready to go out there and take a slap and deliver a slap.
Yeah.
And that was, I would never have thought that that's where my trajectory of life would have gone.
Wow.
Actually, like going in, even with the, I've always been a person to, like, when I talk to people, I try to inspire them as much as possible, right? Because I look for it as, I would want the same thing for me, right? It's like anytime I speak to somebody, they just have good positive energy and they want to inspire you to do, oh man, hey, look, this is what you can do. This is how you can, make some real changes in your life. And I've always wanted to do that for other people too, because I would want that for myself.
Yeah.
So, we've done that so where we could help people kind of just understand what's going on. And we originally wanted to help with people to grow, whether it be understanding how to open up an LLC and open up your own business and figure out like how to fix your credit, doing credit repair, the simple stuff. I mean, I'm a jack of all trades but master of none, right? So
Yeah.
it's just like, and that's just me being, I know that's not the full saying, but that's typically what it is. It's like I've dabbled in so many different things, like, oh, credit repair. I mean, the only way that you're gonna best understand credit repair is by experiencing and going through it and
Yeah.
trying to do it for yourself,
Mhm.
and then learning from the people that are the gurus that are trying to teach you. Find a mentor, follow in his path, and just, that's how you would get better in life. Get somebody that is already gone through the same experiences and learn from that person. So I mean, with the credit repair, with trying to open up an LLC, open up a business to try to get people to just become different per
Yeah.
se. Stop thinking about the 9 to 5 like it's a 9 to 5. Like you have all this time and opportunity. Yes, do you have to have some kind of stability, right, to kind of move and maneuver through life? Yes, but while you're progressing and moving through life and doing your 9 to 5, you should also be thinking about your goals and where the next setup is, and where you should be investing your time. Where you invest your time is where it's going to be the maximum part of the growth.
Yeah.
And I try to put all my time and effort into getting to the next step, getting to the next level. How do I get in the right rooms? And then once you get in the right rooms, how do you stay in that room?
Mhm.
It's one thing to get in a room, but to stay in the room and to operate with the people that are on that level, you
Yep.
have to level up.
Yeah.
You have to change
That's, that's the
change the
championship mindset.
routines.
Yeah, it's a championship mindset, especially UFC. Once you're a champion, yeah, it was easy getting a champion, but now what do you do to stay champion? It's go that much further. I love that. And you kind of just told my final question was usually like, if you had any advice for younger guys coming up in the sport, but I would say just go see Pono. He's going to take care of you.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest advice to everybody is just never give up.
Yeah.
Honestly, never give up. My guy, Mr. Reed, you know, 3 feet away from gold. You ever read that book?
No, no,
Three,
no.
Mm-mm.
three feet away from gold.
You feed away from goal.
Everybody digs and they digs and they dig and they dig and they go in all these directions and they try to find it. And then typically everybody stops right before the gold is there, right before you find whatever it is. So never give up on what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
If you have a passion for this, if you have a passion for anything in life, you have to push. You have to push. There's some diamonds aren't made by just sitting there like that. You know what I mean? It's the pressure. The
Yeah.
pressure of the world. That's where people are going to understand that that's where the most growth is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not by sitting there and kind of just taking all that stuff and then not being able to change it and re-deliver it back out. There's going to be pressures in life that everybody's going to go through, and it's how you accept it and how you really get that mindset of just never give up in life.
That's it.
Never give up in life, man. You like it's short, but you have to push. You have to push. Whether it's waking up every single day and doing exactly what the daily routines of what you do. It seems that it's you just kind of going through the motions,
Structure.
but
No structure.
you got to be 1% better every single day. And I know it's a kind of used up saying, but it's one
It's
percent better every single day, brother. You got it. The next day you have to practice something a little bit different, because once you start getting into the routine where you feel like there's comfortable,
yeah,
it becomes a problem, because where you're comfortable, that's where you're going to stay.
for sure.
One
Yep.
thing that I
Always
find
always practice growth.
Yeah.
One thing that I find that, and it really pertains to that, is I think a lot of people believe that they're busy and think they're getting 1% better, but it's the focus in where they're going that they tend to struggle with. So they're getting 1% better in too many things that don't pertain to their true calling. And
Hmm.
then they wind up feeling busy, but feeling unrewarded or unsuccessful or unproductive because all of their time is going to busy work, not being productive through that busy work. And so, how did you know that this was your calling? How did you know that like this is where you wanted to go? Maybe not in this particular sport, but just in this particular focus, you know, in the best you to perform at the best level. So you knew you were getting 1% better, headed towards a particular or at least a clearer destination.
I just got tired of being the person that wasn't like that.
Yeah.
That's what that I just got sick and tired of it. I'm just noticing that just like that, jack of all trades. I'm dabbling in so many things, and I get a good understanding. I get all these experiences under my belt, but I've never had a sense of direction.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing, is that because just like you said, once you start to go all over the place, it's spread very, very thin and all the way across. You don't have laser focus. There's no real straight, you're not diving in something directly.
Yep.
You're kind of just trying to find your way. And I
Sample
get it.
size.
It's great. It's great for the very beginning. Once you start and you find a niche that really just captures you and that you can work within, and it's God's purpose.
Yeah.
He kind of gives you that layout, right? It's already there,
Mhm.
and then you kind of fall into place of where you fit in the world,
Yeah.
and then from there, now it's less on him, more on you. It's your job to make sure you focus in and you hone in on all those things, and you listen to all the stuff, and you see all the you see all the signs, and you not only do you see them, but you're not dumb to them, and
Yeah.
that you react, because that's where a lot of people fall short, is that they see these things and then they don't react to any of it.
Yeah.
There's no action behind what's going on, so then you fall short, and you're not at that level where you can start to progress, and you start to get better, and you start to do what you need to do to figure out what's in life. We're just supposed to live it,
Yeah.
and that's reality. The world kind of puts those worldly ties on you, because we live of the flesh. That the materialistic world is there. Trust me, it's always going to pull on your strings, and it's always going to be like, hey man, bills are coming up, time to pay stuff, but all reality, the happiness is not found there.
Yeah.
the
I
happiness the happiness is found in the relationships you build, not only with your family but also with God.
I wow, I actually really love to take the turn into the faith conversation quite a bit because I've recently found my faith 2-3 years ago, really tap back in, but we don't have that many hours to dive back in.
Yeah.
One thing that I did take note on that you just said is people tend to metaphorically flinch at all of the right signs because they seem too scary. You know, going back to what you had said about the human trait is to flinch when something's coming your way, but a lot of the times that's the one thing, that's the sign that's just illuminating in front of you that most people are like, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go back to the easy stuff that I know. You know what I mean? Like, stay away from that. I'm going to keep doing what I'm comfortable in. You know what I mean? And sometimes you have to lean into it, or at least brace yourself and stay focused, or at least know this is the right like path to be taking, because with the moment you want to flinch is usually there to remind you that it's time to face that fear to get to that next pivotal point.
Yeah, that's it. It's the turning point.
Yep.
It's that moment where you're gonna realize who you are. And it's in slap, it's a little bit different, but I mean, in life, when it relates to life, that's that moment where you could make all the changes that you need to be the most successful and best version of yourself.
Yeah.
And people don't understand what the best version looks like, because they fall short to where, what does that look like?
Yeah.
But that, you have to start off somewhere, and you have to look at the people that have came before you. You know, history presents itself. You have to look at the people before you that were, you know, in that world doing the exact same thing. How did they become successful? Where were their turning points in life? And once you start to study other people and the way that they operate and the way that they have gone through all the struggles and the ups and downs, then you realize that it's a guideline for you,
Yeah.
that you've got the stepping stones to a successful entrepreneur, a successful man, a successful whatever. You
Yep.
know, you gotta see it first before you can start doing it. And I think that's where a lot of our fear comes from, is that we don't get to see it first. You
Yeah.
know, we're the first experience.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, oh no, I'm in this problem, I'm in this situation, and then it happens. But then, you know, shortly after, you end up out of that problem and situation. You say, no
What's going
biggie.
on? Yeah.
What
Yep.
was that?
Yep.
What
Yeah.
was that? I can do that. I can do that Monday through Friday. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Cause
You
more
know,
stress than you needed to.
and you build up the conditioning, you build up the callus on you. You know, it's life is going to be thrown at you at all different types of ways and angles, and you just got to kind of run with the punches. I look at it more of like life is already coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to be the one willing to catch it.
Yeah. I do a lot
Gotta
of
be willing to catch it.
I do a lot of comparing to, like, if life were a simulation or life is a video game, no matter what, through all of the levels, you need to be leveling up, because if you just patiently wait in the lobby for the right time to occur in life as the game, you're not leveling up, but life is still moving. The bosses are still getting harder. You
Hmm.
know, one thing when I was a very angsty young kid, and the one thing that was told to me that changed my trajectory and to be able to get really clear on the best version of me, who I needed to become, was the explanation of what a good mentor of mine's belief in God's judgment was. And it was, not only does God judge you in the end, and his judgment is the only true judgment or opinion that matters, but he stands you next to the version of you were meant to become, and you are also meant to compare yourself to that version. So when I try to figure out, okay, who is that me? Who is the best me? Like, what does this person do on a daily regiment to be the creation you were called to be? That keeps my path pretty damn clear. And even as a tattoo artist, I understand creator, creative, creating. You
Hmm.
know, so as long as I can just remember my place in that timeline, it's a lot easier to know what I need to do and what just doesn't belong in my focus, to make sure that I become as close to the version of me I was designed to become as humanly possible.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. I
Hell
agree
yeah.
100%.
So Pono, man, what's next? What's on the radar? When's the next fight?
So this year is going to bring a lot of blessings. They have now upped their events. So last year there was about 7 events for Power Slap. This year is going to be 12 events. You know, announced by Dana White. So we're looking at every month or so. There's going to be an event going on.
Yeah.
Right now, currently, we have. I think there's going to be something set up in February. Not too sure. They haven't announced it, but the actual like announced Power Slap event is March 6th, Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and that's going to be either Power Slap 18 or Power Slap 19, whichever one comes first. If they don't have a surprise one before that,
And you'll be on
and
that
then it,
card?
and then it's going to roll out. So they haven't given me the call yet.
Okay.
I'm still waiting in the wings. I don't know if I should take that as a compliment or you know,
Yeah.
because I mean there's a lot of people that are, like I said, they've introduced NXT wrestlers, they've introduced MMA fighters, they have introduced people that you know, are now kind of shifting into social influencers, and so there's just a bunch of people in my division. I mean, there's probably 20 plus outside of the normal regular 10 on the roster. There's
Yeah.
probably another like 15 or 20 plus heavyweights that are just going to be sitting in the background, that
Wow.
are at any point in time ready to go. Hey, you know what? We want to battle, we want to match, and you know, if they're
How
hungry,
many
they're
how many
they're going to push
heavyweights per
for it.
card?
So don't they typically, they don't they highlight all weight divisions. so it's
Sure.
not just like one
Yeah,
specifically.
yeah, yeah.
So, but there is four fights, four. Let's not say fights because everybody gets mad,
Yeah.
in MMA world. So there's four matches that happen previous to the main card. Then there's four matches on the main card.
Okay.
So eight total for that one, and they probably have a handful of matches on prelims. So like your non-televised.
Sure.
Mm.
So
Okay.
typically there could be, 2, 3 heavyweight matches on there. It just depends on what they were trying to highlight.
Okay.
We have the super heavyweight division, lightweights, we have, welterweights, middleweights. So I
Yeah.
mean, whatever they seem focused. I noticed that the power slap brass, they are now getting into the moment where they're starting to create storylines.
Okay.
Mm.
So, if this person's been in the sport from the very beginning and he hasn't had the opportunity to be able to go against the champion, but the champion's also from the same other fight uh uh
League or
promotion.
promotion.
Yeah, so the other fight promotion.
Yep.
Okay, well, this is a storyline. They come from the same fight promotion. They're coming in. They've came into the sport. They've now battled through a handful of people, and
Yep.
now it just makes sense for this person to match against this person.
Yeah.
So now they're figuring out that their storylines are actually mattering when it comes to capturing a fan base.
Sure.
That's I love that it's a very viral sport. That when you go out there, it's very short and quick. 3 minutes on stage, 4 minutes on stage, whatever it may be, and somebody's getting knocked out or somebody's going down at the end of this. And I like that it's like that, but I really wish that how they did with the seasons, that
Yeah.
they would have highlighted that a lot more, because I feel like the fan base would be so much bigger and so much better
Sure.
when it comes to understanding the people's stories.
Yeah.
Storytelling's crucial in any aspect, dude.
It's crucial, and you got to have, and there's got to be something that is there for people that are looking at the sport to relate to.
Relate
Mhm.
and what was the fuck? I just lost the other word, but yeah, relatable. That's the key thing right there. Or
Yeah,
resonate with, or like
resonate with,
yep,
exactly. Yeah,
all that.
the people have to when you have something so new like this, you have to feel.
Yeah,
And if there's no feel, there's no sale.
Yeah.
You're not. There's nobody buying, right?
Yeah.
They need to be emotionally attached to what's going on the
yeah.
stage, in the storylines, and everything else. If it's not like that,
It's the
you're not
way of
going
your.
to get anywhere.
We were talking about content earlier. It's the same thing for people's content. Same thing for
True.
anything.
Yeah.
And
When it,
go ahead.
no, I was going to say what, and I think that kind of makes a lot of sense. They start bringing in people who already have a bit of a platform, a bit of a name. They need to have the storyline. Look at NXT, as you had said, a lot of those people have backstories. You don't attach yourself to who you think is going to win nearly as much as you do the feeling and the emotion of this individual that you can best relate to. And that's when it really starts increasing astronomically. Is no different than in sales and all business. You sell on buyer emotion. Just like when you want to capture the attention of an audience, you have to speak directly to their feelings, their emotions, their experiences, so that they can be more relatable to the athlete or the business or the producer that
Yeah.
they have the most in common with.
I'll say right.
Mhm.
I'll say right now, as a UFC fan, and I'm a pretty big UFC fan. The thing that captured so much of it was the embeddeds, was the UFC countdowns, was the behind the scenes, was these
Mhm.
guys like I was watching Justin Gaethje stuff last night. Him behind the scenes, what he's like when he goes home, when he's making his protein. That caused me to relate with these guys and who I've kind of followed on their journey, from the early days. And I think that's big on any platform, is just showing that relatability, that authenticity, who they are as a person, because it's also shut me off of a lot of UFC fighters. I'm like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Like it
Right.
goes
Right.
both
Right.
ways. So I think,
Yeah.
I know a little bit about marketing and branding, but I think that would be crucial for Slap, is to do the Slap countdowns, the Slap embeddeds, the behind the scenes. I know maybe there's a budget call, but everyone's got a videographer these days. So I think really walking around from, especially someone like you, your day to day, walking into church, cleaning the old office, whatever that is, I think that could be huge for the sport right now, because I don't know how other many people are like me that like to see that UFC countdown, but I'm watching every embedded, every behind the scenes, because I want to get to know these guys and their story.
Right. 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 And I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm really grateful for the opportunity that I've had, getting into this sport.
Mhm.
Being
Yeah.
a part of a season 3 road to the title. living in a house with 40 other guys and figuring out like it, it's a short period of time, right? We're
Yeah.
only shooting for about 2 weeks, and it extends through that whole entire, next 2 months or so. So they,
Yeah.
release an episode every single week.
Yeah.
But during that 2 weeks, I mean, you get to really understand the people that you're living with in the house. It's not
Where
like when
can
the
you go
cameras
back
come
and
on,
watch
you start
that?
talking,
Can
huh?
you go back and watch that?
Yeah, it's on Rumble. It's on
Okay.
Rumble.
Cool.
Yeah, and they have the whole entire season layout. They also have, season 2, season 1.
Oh yeah.
But I'm really grateful for that opportunity because I would have I don't think I would have had the same reaction. I mean, outside of just me being who I am, I wouldn't have the same reaction if I was just introduced to a live event.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Pono Pau, the Hawaiian Assassin. He's on a live event. He goes and starches the guy. And then after that, then I would have to do all the other parts where I would have to get on there and reach out to all the sponsors and all the people that are out there in the world and try to make that connection. Get on every single podcast, get every interview in there, and be able to have the ability to be able to tell the story so that people understand who I am.
Yeah.
And that season 3, that road to the title, it really highlighted me in a way where it's like, well, that's the guy. If I ever seen it, that's exactly that's exactly who he is. He's out there, he's helping people. He's out there, he's coaching people. He's out there and he's trying to change people's lives, and in the same motion trying to change his own.
Yep.
Like that was key. That was so key for what the next steps were for Power Slap for myself. Like using the platform to really reach out there and inspire people to be different in life, to change, and and to realize that we all go through it.
Fucking
We
yeah.
all go through it. There's going to be hard times all around every corner, but it's how you pick up. It's how you never give up. It's how you push through. It's how you figure out the little ways to try to get it back, and micro wins every single day, man. Like you don't have to take on the bigger picture. There is a bigger picture, but you don't have to take it all on one time. Just small wins every single day builds up the tolerance you understand who you're trying to become and what you're trying to do.
Mhm.
And then after that, once you have aligned yourself with the assignment, that's when it becomes okay, now I understand who I am. Now I understand its identity, right? Everybody's trying to figure out who they are. Where it's an identity crisis. You're trying to figure out, what is my main purpose? What am I here for? Why was I placed here? And what is my main focus? What do I need to do in life to be different? And then you
Well,
realize that your identity is being yourself.
Yeah, and it goes back to that fear of that imposter syndrome, man. We talk about it all the time with clients and just people in general, is having that imposter syndrome, not believing in themselves enough, and that goes a long way. But
Yeah.
hell yeah, man. This has been awesome, bro. If people want to find you, bro, what's your handle? Where you at?
I'm all over Instagram.
Yeah.
The Hawaiian Assassin, DA_Hawaiian_Assassin. Facebook was the original. I'm in the '88 baby, so Facebook was my go-to, and try to get my story, get my life put out in the world, was always on Facebook. So
Me and
Facebook,
Mike are going to
the
go
Hawaiian
back to our,
Assassin.
yeah, we're not going to go back to what our first platform was, but it definitely wasn't Facebook.